scammed.
And we should.
We should.
Hello.
Hello. Okay, I think we are live. Hello. Let me know if you can hear me, but I can unfortunately hear myself, so it should be all good. I'm just gonna wait a second or two. Yeah, but I think we should be all good. It's 7 p.m. At least where we're at now. So, hi guys, hope you have a nice Monday. Yeah, it's Monday. So, welcome to the next episode of the Musical Church podcast. As always, we are going to take a look at Bitcoin, some of the altcoins as well. Talk about some of the narratives and whatnot. Before we jump into stream, shout out to our sponsors at Woo. Woo at the moment has a promotion running. You can see you can get a $50 welcome bonus. So, nice for a small account. You can buy, I don't know, whatever you want. There are some rules and conditions to this. It's only first 30 users are eligible, and all you have to do is make a new account with the link in the description. The first link you will see in the description of this video. And if you make a new account, make a deposit, you can see, you can read all of that on their website, and you will get a bonus after you start trading and make some of that trading volume. So with that being said, let's take a look at some of the charts. So obviously we're going to start with BTC as well. I have kind of a clean chart here. I think, there is not that much to talk about. To be fair, I have kind of this rule when it comes to my trading, when, market is just like doing this, or, just basically being very, very kind of a one-directional. I'm usually trying to kind of get long as well, rather than, play a couple and just try to fade everything. Only that, I can claim cloud. Did I go to the top? I don't really care about that, to be fair. I think BTC is still looking pretty decent. We are obviously at some of the kind of higher time frame resistance, if you will. I saw some people mentioning this kind of a level, basically between like, what is this, 48 to 53k. This kind of a gap on a weekly is probably this kind of level of resistance. So we are definitely, at resistance. We had 2 huge bullish weeks in a row. So it's definitely good to be cautious, but like I said, I'm not really too interested in trying to catch the absolute top or whatever. ETF inflows are still coming in pretty strong. Last time I checked, there is a holiday in the US today, so no updates kind of coming in. But yeah, the ETF inflows are coming in. If you're gonna take a look at this chart, this is the COT data of BTC, Bitcoin futures on the CME. Basically, all you need to kind of know here is that this blue line are commercials, which are all these kind of huge funds, huge traders, and you can see here this kind of a middle price point is where BTC started to trend up. This blue line is also kind of trending up as well. So meaning that, these kind of a large institutions and funds which are, required by CFTC basically to report their positions every week, they are still holding longs. Like I said, it's a holiday in the US, so this didn't change the day. There will be change in this tomorrow, most likely. But yeah, I'm still, from like a TradFi perspective, and it's maybe for some people a little cringe, but we have this kind of a new volume coming in, this kind of a completely new venue coming into the Bitcoin, which wasn't really the case in the last couple of years. So I think looking at TradFi will be only more and more important coming forward. And for like these both 2 instruments, the ETFs and the CME contracts as well, there is not a huge kind of a order flow change, or like change of dynamic in positioning or in these inflows. So in that regard, BTC is looking pretty good. Like I said, price action point of view, we are at a little bit of resistance. when we gonna take a look at like spot books on the centralized exchanges, this is the only thing I don't really love about BTC at the moment, because you can see basically how, if I'm going to really zoom out, let me change this to like H4 chart. You can see basically coming into the 23rd of January, which was basically the bottom on Bitcoin. The books on on Binance, this is Binance, Coinbase, Bitfinex, and Kraken, they were all very heavily skewed on the bit side. They were basically this kind of takes the whole depth and gives you this kind of idea of supply and demand coming in, and you can see this kind of a green area coming basically at complete bottom. Before we had this kind of huge rally to the upside. At the moment, I cannot really say that spot books are much of a supportive of the current price action. Binance looks like ghost town basically. There are like no outstanding bids and the offers on Binance at the moment. This is obviously filtered out a little bit, so I don't really need to look at all of them. And especially Bitfinex, which is kind of considered this smart money or whatever you want to call it, although it was like a bunch of speculation when it comes to Bitfinex order flow, but there is this huge wall on Bitfinex which basically kind of appeared right after the Friday close. This is sitting there. This is you can see skewing book very heavily on the ask side. And for me, to be fair, this is going to be kind of the main thing I will be looking this week. I'm not currently in any BTC positions, but I would like to see this kind of a push to the upside and basically just wait and see what market is going to do, because at the end of the day, there are only two things that can happen if you're going to push to the upside. The first thing is basically this shit. I changed my drawing to okay, nice. The first thing is that we can just kind of have this is basically the ETF announcement sell-off. We just gonna have this kind of a long wick overshoot. Market is start showing weakness with no follow through. In that case, I would think that this is most likely a decent short. But if we can manage to push to the upside, especially filling all these offers, and market would just like stay above it, then I would kind of assume that any kind of a retest into this consolidation, low basically kind of being in type of situation, and we would be continuing to the upside. So I like this scenario because obviously it gives me kind of a two trades, and both of these trades I believe have very nicely defined risk to reward ratios as well. Obviously if I'm going to get long on the retest, I would most likely be stopping out somewhere under 50k. If I'm going to see this getting filled and rejected, then I don't see any other reason to kind of go up again. So my stop would be whatever that kind of a wick would be, and in that case, if you would just continue to go down, then we would most likely fill a lot of this kind of inefficient move which happened to the upside right here. For any kind of upside targets, this is the part of where the whole crypto Twitter becomes completely unsufferable. But my upside targets would be basically 56k and 61k. These are two kind of untested levels I can see here on the daily chart. So these two levels would be where I would be targeting for that. So yeah, this is basically it for Bitcoin. Like I said, I'm just patiently waiting for what's going to happen next, because obviously we had a huge move to the upside, and market is just very kind of going sideways, and this means that there is when market goes sideways like this, it's followed by a more of a expansion to the either way. So no reason to try to predict next move and getting chopped out or whatever, and just better be patient here. So yeah, this is about BTC. We can now move to some other things. Runner might show us the ETH-BTC chart since it's up today, so he's very happy with it.
I'm a retard. No, I meant retarded. No, can you maybe before that? No.
It is looking good.
I have a Bitcoin question. I don't wanna jinx it. Please, can you open what was it? Trading Light.
Yeah.
I actually have a question for you on the Binance side of things, because does it have BTC, FD, USDT, whatever it's called?
No, I don't think it does. It only has BTC, USD, No,
No,
like only
no,
these.
it's actually
Oh,
this
this
one.
is this one.
Yeah,
Okay.
this thing because this
Um,
thing does most volume as far as because it's like zero.
mm,
I don't know how much of it is noise, but if you look at 24-hour
yeah, I to
volumes,
be fair, I never looked at it.
it's just doing more
But
volume than USDT pair by
okay,
almost double. So I don't know, maybe
okay.
I don't know what.
Never really looked at it. I still kind of always, assume that the USDT is just the best one. But yeah, like you can see, for example, here, basically there's like not much, and this is most likely because of the zero fee. But at like the biggest kind of negative here is 1831 BTC compared to that this one where it's only like 350. So I would say that like looking at like a supply and demand, because it only really is this. I don't really care where these orders are placed, to be fair. I just want to kind of see that kind of agreement between a large amount of buyers and sellers, that they are populating these books. It doesn't work always. You can see, for example, here we kind of had a very minor retracement and pushed higher, but when these things get really heavily skewed, you can see that basically here at the bottom there was like 7,000 BTC sitting underneath the price here. So yeah, I still just kind of use the USDT chart.
So just like Macro Bertard would say, that's all manipulation by Tether. And
Yeah, ETH is looking good. Like I think ETH is really on the way towards like at least like 3K is obviously going to be a huge level.
I mean, dream bigger. I mean, I'm
Yeah.
just reluctant to say anything about ETH, like pretending I don't speak the language. Like, oh no, because the moment I get excited about Ethereum, peak on top of, because I was making, for the context, maybe somebody watching for the first time, I'm making a bull case for Ethereum ETF for like last, how many months? 2 months, which is
Yeah.
like 11 years in
But
crypto.
it's good, like it's not that shitty. Like, okay, this is weekly chart, so it's been like a month basically since we kind of bottomed out. We are moving from this level. It just takes time, like this is a weekly chart, like it's obviously like I feel like, and I'm not only saying this because I'm long as well, but like
Finally,
a lot of
thank
people
you
just
for admitting. I'm getting so much shit for this shit. Like,
yeah.
so many people I know are long this, and I get all the shit for it.
But it's like it's coming from like a higher time frame weekly chart, so it's even like if you would, this is kind of a similar pattern, if you will, to like this situation. Like you take the lows, make a new high, come for a retest. You take the highs, make a new low, come for a retest. Like this, took a long time basically. Like if you would just short ETH BTC here in October, this is 22, and you would be targeting like whatever, like this would take a year. So this is like an extreme example, and I'm pretty sure we both have like attention spans of 5-year-olds. So there is no shot I'm holding something for a year. But takes just point is like it takes time on higher time frames, definitely. So I think this is looking good. Like I said, I actually managed to get some long even on ETH, which is looking pretty solid. So yeah, definitely. It's interesting to see that like not many altcoins are kind of pushing with it. Expect maybe Optimism and ARP, which are like these kind of, and even ARP is pretty weak-ish. OP is the only one that is kind of looking somewhat decent.
Somebody asking, can you explain why buy ETH BTC and not ETH USDT? Because I'm retarded. No, for me,
Yeah. Pretty much.
no. Look, jokes aside, first and foremost, it has perps, which might be retarded, but something I don't see at all on CT is denominating portfolio in something else than stablecoins. That makes sense. So in my head, and feel free, like this is like intervention. 75 people listening to my cope is, but Adam knows like we actually do denominate in BTC. So if I go super fucking leverage long ETH BTC on perps and it does whatever, let's say 5%, and the gains are in Bitcoin as well. So it's easier for the conversion. And for some reason, this will be the biggest scope part of the trade. For some reason, if I'm down, for easy numbers, right, for people to maybe get some reference, if I'm down unrealized PNL plus minus $10,000, it is very different than 0.0 whatever BTC is conversion to that amount of money. And I know it's so fucking retarded, but like,
Yeah, it is. For me, I don't know. Like I wasn't long much of a ETH. To be fair, I actually got just long yesterday, like when we had this little flush. So I missed the large part of the move. I know that people kind of hate this on CT because obviously, especially now since everything kind of goes up. Um, it's every single project is now future of finance, and all these different altcoins are going to outperform everything so much. But ever since I kind of got into crypto and got into trading alts, like I still see for a large part just being ETH is like being long altcoins. Obviously there are going to be many things that will outperform ETH and that will outperform BTC. There will be also a lot of things that will underperform, and you can see basically this is my watch list at the moment, and I don't really plan to like add any more coins to this. So for me, being long, ETH BTC is this kind of a bet that we are going to have maybe some sort of alt season. ETH has this ETF narrative, and if both ETH and BTC are going to get a correction, basically ETH, in my opinion, should correct a little less. Therefore, ETH BTC should still stay strong, and I feel better being long this than like long 10 altcoins. Then BTC is going to correct 10%, and I will just lose a bunch of money because because obviously altcoins always die way more than BTC in any sort of
I
like
have a maybe a
correction.
bit better argument that it took me 2 minutes to compute in my head. Would you agree, like at the like you said, Bitcoin, careful or like cautious because potential resistance, want to see momentum, blah 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 next week because technically speaking it's holiday. If you're long ETH BTC, especially I like how people assume you long every single fucking top. Like entry is much lower, first and foremost. But second is like you're kind of directionally hedged. Like, would you long BTC or ETH here? ETH USD pair. Like, I would absolutely fucking not.
Yeah.
But ETH
Well,
BTC also not.
I did yesterday, but yeah, it's.
But you know what I
yeah.
mean. So it's like by kind of like my thesis when I was starting longing in December, late December was like kind of maybe a bit of cope from last cycles, but basically in my head, if BTC goes down, then on the bounce, on the recovery, ETH should outperform. So
Yeah.
I just took the ETH BTC instead. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. Someone is already shilling
Yeah, we'll look at the shit coins.
real world assets, which I just die inside every time I have to say this out loud. Yeah, I haven't been trading much of the like new stuff, which is kind of shame because it goes up.
But do you struggle?
Yeah,
I have a question for you because you're our chief narrative officer, right? And some people, like also people ask, and we just discussed this before stream, right? Something are like position sizing and narratives. I always love when somebody goes into comments like, if you longed XYZ on CumShot swap, with $11 liquidity, you would have made more money. Like, yes, but no, right? Because, like, or like I know you made this example with Forex, like somebody saying, how did you make money? It moved 0.2%.
Yeah.
And you're like, okay. So there's some fundamental understanding wrong. And like, how would, okay, so the question is, would you put the same position size behind Ondo or would insert your favorite new coin versus ETH, like in your example? And I think it's important angle of like position sizing, and it might be different for everybody else. But if you take every single trade with same size, with same whatever, risk management, I think it's retarded.
Yeah, like definitely. Basically, the only kind of a mentionable trade for me last week in crypto, I trade like a bunch of legacy markets as well, was BNB. It's terrible coin. I hate it so much, but like I basically long summer here, closed a little too early, whatever. But this is something that where I can kind of be more confident than just buying something that just got listed, 2 weeks ago, basically. At the same time, yeah, like it's it's kind of a tricky question because obviously, you could say very similar things about Celestia when it got listed, that you are not going to size into this and look at what basically it has done, since it was listed. But yeah, for me, as at least, I have like much higher conviction when it comes to just stuff that has been trading for decent amount of time. It doesn't change the fact that they all are kind of shit coins, and they still have these kind of a huge liquidity sweeps. I remember I was long Optimism, which is fairly big coin, and it done some like insane stuff around here as well. So it's all kind of relative. I truly have only the highest convictions when it comes to trading ETH and BTC in regards to sizing. I know my overall issue is, and it's always been the case, and I know that like there are people on Twitter, when things just go up, they just long fucking 20 altcoins at the same time, and they post all these big winners and whatever. But yeah, for me, I don't know. I much rather pick like 2 or 3 things, which is like maximum. I have this kind of a correlation basket. Like I said, I trade fucking forex and commodities and whatever, and I know that like how these markets can get very very correlated, and I usually only take like 3 same directional positions, if that makes sense. So I was like, for example, at the moment, I think I can say this, it's no harm in that. I longed ETH yesterday, towards this kind of a recovery. Basically, it was looking pretty decent. And I also longed NEAR, and I'm also long Celestia. From like NEAR, I long somewhere over on Saturday, and Celestia even earlier, or Friday, is doing basically nothing. But for me, I'm in these 3 longs. It's kind of where my sweet spot is. I'm not, just looking to get, like into 10 different other altcoins, because these things are not moving. For me, it's more important to kind of manage my trades, manage these positions, and, especially considering that I'm in an ETH long, which I might just close very soon.
Please do,
And
so
this
we
is
can
kind of the
continue
high.
up only.
Yeah, this is that kind of a higher conviction play, if you will, since it's ETH trade and it's still ETH. So, yeah. Yeah, Runner basically is BTC only. I have some spot. I'm not really biggest kind of a. For me, the spot, I only have BTC and ETH. It's kind of I would say, anti-retardation perps trading kind of a bag, but yeah, I just always kind of rather trade futures than would
But
just buy spot.
But
And
also, it so
whatever.
must be fucking heartbreaking, right? Imagine being macro doom posting for 2 years, and then like if you're only in stablecoins, and this like what we just had, let's say last 2 months in crypto, doesn't matter your favorite coin, everything went up, and you're like, the mental burden of knowing like you're making no money, is fucking brutal, and being there,
Yeah,
done that
like
way too many times, the cope and hope and FOMO, and it's just not good.
yeah,
Not good.
I remember like I wasn't always. When I got into crypto towards like 2020, I wasn't really holding that much of spot. But then at some point, I just started kind of like buying a little bit, or like I made a bunch of money on a trade. I didn't have a need to kind of withdraw anything to the bank account or whatever. So I just like I'm just gonna buy spot here. I'm like, my spot holdings are not anything insane. If BTC goes to all-time highs from here, from my spot holdings, I wouldn't probably buying a villa somewhere in Southern Europe with it. But yeah, I just hold some spot to be kind of like hedge against myself, basically, because I know myself.
Yeah, and I think
Um,
that's a important context. Like us two are like very good at mid curving new shit, and it's like,
yeah,
but there's a lot of, I think this is such a cope session, but there's a lot of strength in knowing that, like usually when I used to panic about my ETH BTC long, when I'm like freaking out, it's over, I'm so fucking done, I'm losing all the money, I added to my position, and it was like it was the bottom. So
yeah,
it's like knowing my own retardation in a lot of things, and like that's why I was framing the question like, would you put half of your net worth into new coin? Probably not.
yeah.
And you mentioned 3 positions at the same time. Does that in your head, is that like too many charts to manage, or is it more of a, let's say you want to put, again, just for numbers reference, let's say $10,000 across 3 pairs. Is that it, like, do you look at it like, okay, I'm fully allocated in terms of the dollar, you know what I mean? Like, would you,
Yeah,
is
like
that a thing?
I definitely had some of the situations in the past where I was just long way too many things, and Bitcoin decided to do this 5% down candle, and all my things decided to do minus 25% candles in like 10 minutes, which often kind of hurts. So yeah, I just kind of try to keep it civilized. For example, like Celestia, this sucks. Like I basically got long here. It's just doing nothing. I had kind of different expectations from this trade. Not being basically sideways. Near has done a little better. But yeah, I just really try to keep it. Like if you're gonna kind of go through a lot of these altcoins, the charts are looking very, very similar, especially these like larger caps. So I'm trying to use order flow or whatever to really just find the best kind of opportunity, which I feel like is the best opportunity at the moment. It obviously doesn't work all that well. If I would, for example, instead of splitting my size into these 3 coins, which I'm long at now, if I would just long, ETH yesterday, what I did with the, size that I put into these 2 coins, I would be much better off. But, it's just trading, basically. You cannot always fucking... I don't have a crystal ball. I have no idea what's going to happen next,
Dare
basically.
you? Why the fuck am I watching this stream?
Yeah, or if I would buy, WorldCoin, like, it's just like take trades where I think it's the best opportunity. Sometimes I'm correct, sometimes I'm not. So it is what it is, basically.
You're not 11-figure LARP?
Yeah. Someone asking about Blur. We actually talked about this, and you can show on chart where you close the trade. Yeah, if you're gonna watch the stream from like start of February, we mentioned that Blur is going to be a very nice long.
That's where your cursor is. That was my entry.
Yeah, my entry was there as well. I think I closed it a little later than you. I closed it actually over here, so it's not that better. But yeah, Blur is doing very well.
I mean, I think the most alpha we can provide is like Bitcoin and ETH analysis, and then counter trade everything we say about altcoins. So
no, just
on the probability to $2 tomorrow.
It's not like counter trade. It's just like don't close it. Because I feel like the trade ideas are great, but the management tends to kind of.
But that's what we're saying. Like, I think we have a decent like analysis, but then and that's the beauty of like everything and actual trading and analysis. Right? It's 2 different things. It's the classic. Oh, I went along this, and then you're underwater or whatever. It goes against you. You fucking close it, and then it plays out. It's just that I think what's the beauty of like on CT lately. You see everybody's winning all the time, and you're like, how the fuck did I not 100x my portfolio? And then everybody's still shilling on-chain shitcoins. Like, go figure. Go figure.
Like, at the end of the day, and I always kind of find it funny because I fumbled a lot of moves and a lot of bags. But basically,
can you tell us about the BNB at $3 or whatever?
Yeah, something like that. But at the end of the day, I'm just, I don't know. Like, when it comes to active trading, for me especially, this trade took like 5-ish days. Basically, I made money. I closed the trade. I'm still pretty happy about it. Obviously, what I'm more pissed about, to be fair, instead of closing, is like not getting long again, because obviously this continues to be very strong, and I have this kind of tendency sometimes where I just like, especially in altcoins, like I close the trade because like my process of finding trades, like I trade, for example, I can quickly show you here. Like these are the futures that I trade, and like I have spot and futures charts there. I trade stocks sometimes. These are the stocks kind of, they always stay the same. But when it comes to altcoins, we talk about these narratives. I'm looking at all these kind of screeners, so these things kind of come and go. And one of the things that I do, and I kind of always kick myself, is that once I close the trade, I kind of forget about the coin for a while, and obviously that's the exact time it goes. another 50% higher or whatever. But
But
you
on the
know it
contrary to this, like Blur has the narrative on 26. So like let's say if there is a dip in year 2152, like there is still, I think, valid reasons to trade this. But the
Yeah.
sad part will be we'll be streaming in like June, July, and somebody will be asking, "Can you do update on Blur?" And like, you missed the point, brother.
Yeah.
Like that's kind of the whole. I know that's such a cope for us paper handing this trade, but I mean, I'm deleting this on 26th. I don't give a fuck, like, who Pac-Man is, what Blast is gonna do, zero fucks given. Move on, just like
Yeah.
not pump and
Yeah.
dump, but like, move on. New shitcoin will be added to the, like, oh, we're getting Starkware tomorrow.
Yeah.
So, like, you can replace the watch list. But I think the AI coins are interesting because it's a narrative that keeps coming back, which is not something that happens that often, I think. Like, what do you think? We
Yeah.
started streaming a year ago, actually, so you've seen some of these as well
If
now.
you are going to watch watch what I said in like a couple months ago, I was pretty bullish on this. So I'm going to collect my internet cloud because I felt like the AI coins still gonna do well. And yeah, they are kind of insane, to be fair.
Told
We
it you.
learned that the FDV is a complete meme when it comes to altcoins, especially those that put a microchip in your eye or whatever they do. Yeah, I think this is looking very good, to be fair, and like these things, like the WorldCoin is this chart is insane. This is like so volatile. There are some like little less volatile things like fetch, for example. This was very nice long in start of February. There was actually like a decent order flow on it because a bunch of people were shorting it as well. Yeah, like this is for me now is kind of as easy as it gets. I was looking at the ocean today. We are just breaking outside of these kind of accumulation ranges, and I feel like you know s- these things still will have room to go. If I would, for example, look at the ocean, if we would get a correction, and I would see this still being strong around this 50 cent area, I would be happy to maybe get some long exposure as well. So I don't feel like everything is kind of lost and gone, and if you missed the AI, you are forever doomed. These things are still like this is not if there is actually going to be this like huge AI bubble of people are talking about, and
7 trillion.
it's kind of
What is he trying to
yeah
raise? 7 trillion.
yeah something insane basically
GDP
like
of
that.
USA.
Yeah, it's still fairly early. I know that I don't have many coins. I know that there is this coin with wonderful name AI. This is obviously what everyone shills at the moment on Twitter. It's yeah, I don't know. Like I know that people are the most onto the new stuff. I'm just yeah. We talked about this last time. It's just like I hate how a lot of these things just miss any kind of historical reference points, and it's kind of order flow is insane, and there is most order flow is coming from on chain because this was trading on chain before maybe or whatever. So they are definitely not my most favorite things, but at the same time, these things has the least amount of PTSD from 2022, and coming back or whatever. So yeah, these are not the worst kind of bets you can take, and I still think like this is fucking crazy chart. If we ever manage to get some sort of pullback, maybe then I will be definitely looking to get long, but I'm not going to look. I'm not going to buy a WorldCoin today.
How dare you? Yeah, I think we can not I mean, AI crypto crossover seems to be,
Yeah, and it's
that's
it's like the easiest AI exposure people can get, uh, which kind of is I feel like what is driving a lot of these coins. It's really easy to buy crypto than some stocks or whatever.
It's interesting because I feel like it kind of got like the narrative kind of spread out to, and you'll be cringing hard for me knowing this, but like the shared computing type thing, GPU sharing. So basically render, but also now it's expanding beyond that, which is a fucking ridiculous chart. This really reminds me like Injective. in the early days, which is not, I'm not making fractals to double digit, but now what I meant with the expansion is I've seen people shilling now, like ticker you probably never heard, Akatu, Akash.
Yeah, I think I saw
Jesus
that on
fuck.
Twitter. Yeah.
Fucking hell. So yeah,
Yeah,
this
there are
and then like are
bunch of these coins.
Jesus.
I don't know. I kind of look at these. It's just not really
And do you ever
my
think
thing.
to yourself, what if I woulda, shoulda, coulda put all my net worth at $20
Yeah,
and
sure.
now I would have been king of some island
AI.
in. Exactly, like it's the mindset, like how you're ever like every time gonna give back all the money because people buy with like everything they have at like by the top, because they heard it's going to $10,000.
Yeah, I don't know. I just it is what it is. It's just like I'm not really. I'm just too old, and maybe I'm just too fucking
Lazy.
risk averse at this point, and lazy, and all of that at the same time. To just, I'm just much rather, because at the same time, I probably put the same amount of money into like a single BTC or ETH trade, which I would put on some shit that is trading on Maxi. So, okay, this has gone a lot. Obviously, this would be, I'm not even going to open the chart. This would be obviously the example where I would make much more money than in single BTC or ETH trade, but at the same time, I'm pretty happy where I am with my trading, how much money I make, rather than spending fucking 18 hours a day on KuCoin, finding a next gem, and then posting it to my private Telegram chat.
I mean, jokes on you. You have private Discord, so where it's basically
Yeah.
uncle jokes and people bullying you for trading German bonds.
Yeah, basically something like that. So yeah, it's just not my thing, but obviously, shout out to all people that
Catch
manage
every
to
single trade with all
Yeah.
their net worth, and again, yet somehow shill their fucking
Yeah. It's like you follow some of these accounts and they like share the stuff from like the deck screen, the charts, and it's kind of a interesting thing. You see it for the first time and kind of gloating about all the 1000% gains, and then you kind of keep seeing that a year later and you're like, okay, but like if you made 1000% on fucking 50 trades you shared on Twitter, then yeah. Why?
No, but I mean, we're also part of the fucking problem, right? Fucking influencers. It's just beautiful to like hear the best advice, like let your winners run, and like what worked for me, taking fucking profit, and like as long as the curve goes right up and to the right, I don't know, but we keep saying it every time. Me and you are not very risk, like our risk of aversion, and it's actually like studied when you study economics and any degree in that field. Like
study cope.
like you actually have like I don't know how to translate it to English, but like everybody's different with approach to risk, and I think my risk taking would be very different if I had $1,000 on my MetaMask on Polygon chain because Ethereum is too expensive versus but
yeah, like if you have 10K, obviously you like you are ready to kind of lose it all at the same time, which is pretty important possibility that people kind of tend to not think about, is definitely playing some of this kind of obscure shit, trading on chain, trading NFTs, trading whatever new kind of hype is about, but yeah, it will, like, it's the chances that you will grow it quick are much higher, but also the chances that you will blow it all completely are much higher than just trading ETH/BTC or some like bigger
because
gaps.
everybody wants to get rich fucking tomorrow. It's just I have bad fucking news for you. It's not gonna happen. You're not gonna become millionaire tomorrow. So fucking
yeah, it's this kind of my ever coming issue, and why I hate Twitter so much is basically like people only post about these, and it's not even like wins. They are just like insane stories happening every single week to them. They catch every fucking single trade and whatever, and it gives you this kind of a very flawed perception of the trading is. And this is like, obviously, I'm not trying to be like, this is not that much of a code, because like the chances of someone just like catching all the rotations all the time, and large caps, shit coins, on-chain stuff, airdrops, everything is just like, yeah.
But my Discord knew about it.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
like,
sure.
fucking hell. Yeah, I mean, I'm honestly looking forward to deleting my Twitter. It's like add a 0 to my network and fuck all of you. No, that sounds so pessimistic. But I think like what you just described is the basic equivalent of when you go on Instagram. When I started trading, you would see this retard sitting on like a beach with a demo account and saying, join my, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like the lifestyle of a trader on a beach with 11 girls.
Yeah.
No, lifestyle of a trader is being online 17 hours a day, watching lower time frames, thinking there's some edge, and like losing all your mental and physical health, losing friends and family because you're sacrificing for the profits. Then you go on Twitter depressed because you made no money, or worse, got stopped out, or maybe even worse, you're shorting bull run because your favorite European Bertar told you that everything goes to 0, and you see every single retard on Twitter making every single move, and you're like in this forever feedback loop of, I'm a fucking loser, I'm never gonna make it.
Yeah, definitely. And a lot of people, like, when people ask me like what they should do and whatnot, like usually my first response is like, don't use Twitter ever. Then and just like focus, like pick one thing, focus on it.
Yes.
Like if it's on chain, if it's whatever you think is best for you, just do that. Don't really follow anyone, especially this like on chain stuff. Like you see on, like when you see it on Twitter, like the thing, and I said it like a million times, like one of the things why I also like trade legacy markets, and why I trade mostly Bitcoin and ETH, is there is this kind of like idea of like zero sum game in trading, for like everyone is basically working with very similar information. The bigger market cap of the thing you are trading, the higher chances is that there is not this kind of a disadvantage basically on your end, because like if you are buying something on chain which you saw on Twitter from someone who has 250,000 followers, then you are not really early and you will be very likely used to exit at the same time. So it is what it is. Just be very skeptical to anything you see online, basically,
including Abetrade.
Yes, especially. Okay, so with the little
somebody asking about BMX. I think we can look at it. That's basically a project of Pentoshi, if I'm not mistaken, that undergone a full rebrand. This used to be MC, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, the merit circle cycle, whatever it's called. Yeah, it's.
I mean, did they do partnership with DWF, or what the fuck is happening here?
I don't know. Yeah, it's like a gaming thing. Yeah, it's up. It's if you are not long from here, or maybe from here, I wouldn't long here.
But I think this is actually a very, very impressive case of rebrand, because there was like this happened. I started seeing this for the first time like a year ago. Basically, when can you open MC chart just to give the PTSD to some people? Why I'm showing not match? I think it's a wrong chart.
No, it's different.
No. But yeah, it's very similar, right? It's not. It's like but zoom out. Exactly. So basically, if you look at the bottom, that's when they did the rebrand. And I'm not showing it to dunk on anybody. I'm just showing what you can do if you're a dead project with clearly nothing going for you. When they did the rebrand and whatever narrative changed, then the new chart, if you can put the new chart, the BMX. And I think this is fucking like kudos to the team. Like I mean it in a positive way, which I don't say. Like this looks.
You will just like delete all the.
Yeah, exactly. Wink, wink. We're doing a rebrand, and I think this is beautiful.
Last 2 years never happened. We just started with the first. Yeah, it's like
no.
I said,
VeChain and VTHO are not the same project. That's a gas token for VeChain.
Okay.
Somebody is saying, but yes, that's same for TVK and what the fuck,
Yeah,
like
I think
Varning.
like I'm so off. Like I feel like even like us and like what we've been kind of talking about, like on streams, like obviously last year, like from summer towards like basically October when BTC started running, like we were very heavily focusing on altcoins and all the narratives and so on and so forth. But I feel like our trading is very heavily focused on BTC and ETH in the last couple of weeks. One kind of a cool thing with this, it's like if you are so into altcoins, like compare your alt against BTC,
Yes.
you might realize that you would be much better off and probably way less stressed just holding Bitcoin if you are into like holding stuff for a longer period of time. Like Bitcoin is even from October basically, or September, October when it started rallying, it's up 100%. It's insane return for any asset, especially asset which is like fairly liquid. So you can once again like it's probably like I would feel much more confident putting 100k into BTC compared to putting 100k into fucking Ondo or whatever coin it would be. So yeah, it's like there is this kind of a pros and cons a lot of people don't talk about when it comes to crypto. Is like, is it really worth the kind of stress and different sizing and everything rather than just being long BTC? Because I feel like personally, okay, maybe AI at the moment has this like huge narrative that you can we will be able to fucking like the computers will start to read your mind soon, it looks like, and it will just
I mean, it's
generate
gonna kill
the
itself.
yeah. You will have an AI girlfriend in 2 weeks basically, and it will just dance next to you the whole day or whatever. But like I don't think there is like any other, like obviously like a lot of layer ones been doing very well, but are there any like super strong narratives?
Well, I still think like actually, somebody is calling me out, and you're right, Chaos. Like I put the title "When New All Time Highs" and we're just talking shit, but I think like what people and me and you will miss most of it, and it's okay. I'm completely at peace with it. When Bitcoin breaks new all time high, which could be at this pace like fucking in next 2 months, with fucking halving, this is where we should see like the or let's say, look, I'm gonna quote Kobe here because people say I'm retarded. Like when we break new all-time highs, this is where we get the retard face, right, on everything else.
Yeah.
And when new all-time highs, look, as Adam said, we have 9 figures of daily inflows when ETFs are actually trading. We have halving, which is a relatively positive catalyst coming up. How much from all-time high are we? It's like
30% ish. I don't know, something like that. Yeah, I think 35%. And I think like Bitcoin, like I usually never follow Capo what he says or whatever. Something that I found funny is he was posting today about
hopefully not
the
Ethereum.
no the funding rates being high on BTC, and like put things into perspective a little bit here. You can see the funding rates in when we were in this kind of a 50-60k ranges before. This is still very muted, so I don't know. It's just like I think BTC is just like looking still solid. There is not that many reasons, and this is one of those sentences where we are trading 50% lower in 2 weeks. But but yeah, the point is just really focus on what you find the best suited for you, and for us at the moment at least it's when like the way we trade, the size we trade, and whatever is trading even BTC mostly. So
And as you like to say, it's always beta correlated, anyways, right? So if we have
yeah.
like 5% correction, all the shitcoins are gonna. What I've noticed, like we had this a lot recently when we had like a flush on BTC on like 1 minute chart, our favorite time frame. Like some of these altcoins would flush like 15, and if
Yeah.
people are actually applying some sort of risk management, lol, then you would everybody is getting stopped out left and right.
Yeah.
And I think it's so easier said than done being spot long for fucking forever now. But it's interesting. Fuck, like we are also a bunch of noise, but I think it's really valuable in these conditions when you have basically no fucking pullbacks. Like
Yeah.
people saying I would like to buy dip, I'm like, log in back in 25 years, and then people keep buying the dip on the way down. And I don't know, it's a tough one. Like, would you, as we discussed, would you long here? Absolutely not. But
Yeah,
that's
that's the only thing that I kind of hated with this whole rally is that it was really hard to kind of trade because there were like zero pullbacks. I remember I was getting long like here. It was a very, very shallow type of pullbacks we had throughout the whole kind of move to the upside.
So about
but yeah.
levels, let's move to my favorite pair. I want to make a local top so I can add ETH BTC. What is Adam is long, so can you please stop shitting on me all the time? What are your targets? Do you believe we'll get Ethereum ETF?
I think
are you getting ETH?
my target for this trade is here and also here. And with that being said, I don't really care if there is any ETF or whatever. It's just like, from weekly point of view, I got long at a pretty decent spot somewhere in the lows. Once again, we'll take 30% gain, watch it go another 50%. Cope on stream type of situation. But yeah, I think this is, like the target, especially if ETH kind of picks up the pace with the whole ETF and everything. I think this can definitely rally from like, especially from price action point of view, everything kind of here was tested, you have this kind of price action when market like moves down, but every move get immediately tested type of situation. So then when you finally get a reversal, it's usually goes through these levels because there's like not much resting there. So I think this can easily go to like, what is this, 80?
Bro, if it goes there and I'm still somehow long, nobody will ever hear of me ever again. Goodbye.
Nice.
Goodbye, XBT.
But yeah, I would like target back basically towards this kind of a, like if you go like some sort of range or whatever, just these highs. This for me, if I would manage to kind of get this, it would be a very nice trade for me, and I don't really.
But somebody will like, you'll make like fucking bazillion dollars, and somebody will be like, oh, if you bought Bitcoin, sir, you faggot.
Yeah.
No, but what is your? I have a follow-up question because a lot of people, and I've seen technical roundup guys mention it as well. Like people are bullish on Ethereum ETF, blah blah, but people just go straight for beta plays, which even optimism you showed. Like, do you think the actual underlying asset? Because like if you look at even OP against Ethereum,
this is all-time high, right? It's there is no prior price action on OP.
I don't think it was this high ever.
Yeah.
I mean, it's. Oh, sorry. It's like. I think it's actually a valid point because.
The beta with this stuff, it's good, but like let me kind of, I don't know, like it has always this kind of look. Like for example here, right? Like if you would get long in like middle of January on OP. Being okay, this is ETH beta, ETH is bullish, ETH was basically here at the moment, and you would have, for whatever reason, like your invalidation on trade would be like under these lows, like this is low, push to the high, it's not going there, whatever. Then you long the top, the same as you did on ETH, and you'd be like, okay, I'm wrong under this low, like this is spot hold or whatever, I will just puke the position here. Because these shit coins are beta, obviously. Look, you would get fucking rinsed here, then it would retrace. You wouldn't get rinsed here because, it's still a little more liquid or whatever. And this went to the all-time highs. Sorry, not all-time highs, but new highs. This took you out and it's still not trading above that previous high. So I feel like with a lot of beta plays, especially when your kind of narrative is just it's a beta play, when it's like nothing really. I know there is this upgrade coming to ETH, which
Duncan.
Yeah, Duncan. Like this has been talked about for like last 7 months, basically the Dunkirk update or what the name of it is.
It's a good movie though, Dunkirk.
Yeah, like okay, there might be some sort of narrative, but if you are only longing the beta of fucking ETH, which is already volatile as shit, like you will very easily just get shaken out, and then like I don't know. It's like the reasoning behind the trade. Like there is ETH ETF coming. Let's long optimism. Like it's just a little stupid, right? Like if there is ETF coming,
But
like
also
let's
longing
maybe
8 if BTC is kind of stupid.
but at least there is this ETH part in the trade. So I don't know, like yeah, and same with Arbitrum. We can see middle of January traded under the lows. It's nowhere near the previous high. So I don't know.
Fair.
I'm like, if there is something with ARP, and like last time I traded this was something around here. There was actually some sort of
Yeah, we took that long, huh?
whatever.
We
Yeah,
closed at
we
like
took that long,
1.3.
and
Fuck me.
yeah. Like I don't know. I'm just like, if I'm not. I'm basically, what I'm saying is I'm not fan of just trading the higher beta coins for the sake of me making more money, when there is this obvious option which I just kind of showed you, that where you can get just screwed more.
But it's the classic you have this feeling like you have to take the biggest beta, right? Why would I long ETH where I can stake it for 11 years in Eigenlayer V3, Butterfly, Fork, like, bleh. Like last thing we're missing is what was the Olympus?
Yeah. Oh. Ouch. Yeah.
Like, what? And it goes back to the whole trying to make it in one day, which is.
Yeah. And even like, if you, once again, coming back to this example, like if you long ETH here, it pulled back 15%. If you long optimism here, it pulled back double that basically. And people always, like,
Sell
one
the
of
bottom.
my favorite thing on CT is that, like, people always just share like percentage gains for coins. Like, someone is gonna come here and say this is up 46%, while ETH is probably up, yeah, a little less than that. But there is this has like nothing to do with actual trade. Like, if you just take fucking 35% drawdown on any kind of meaningful size,
Yes,
you're
exactly.
sweating.
Bro,
You
you're
are
not
sweating as
sleeping.
hell.
You're like
Yeah.
you're going to Discord and asking, "Hey, is Dev here?" Like you're being
Yeah.
in erect plebs,
And
submissions.
like the chance you are actually puking the trade in the process is also much higher. So yeah, like when people say like this is up 70%, like what does it mean? Like, it doesn't mean anything. It like, there is no trade in it's up 70% and I put the risk to reward tool from TradingView on my chart. It's
It's
whatever.
beautiful. I've been getting so much shit for ETH BTC, yet even though the pair like almost never moves, still this quarter has been like the best by multiple of 5, and it's just.
Yeah.
It's like, if and people genuinely asking like, why did you put it, like, you don't fucking clearly trade, like you have no idea what the fuck you're talking about. Like Donald last year outperformed all of CT with just trading Bitcoin, with having a baby
Yeah.
and whatever. It's like, fuck man, I'm just getting angry. Like CT fucking circle jerk is like, I remember even Ansem, right? Z, the Solana guy. I remember
Yeah.
half of CT, who's now sucking his dick deep, was shitting on him for months after FTX, because he was posting Solana charts since like $10,
Yeah.
right? And people were literally putting his tweets and like, haha, local top. And now's these people like, hey Z, tell us the next shitcoin. Like,
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah, it's really, and I think a lot of people will tell you this. It's like taking less, more kind of concentrated bets. Obviously, shout out to Ansem for holding this for fucking 500% gain. This was
Yes.
really probably the most memorable runs we had. Solana is still like top 5 coin or whatever. So
That's impressive balls on him, like people
yeah,
sticking
but
and actually holding, unlike me and you.
yeah, but like, just take less trades and put more conviction into those less numbers of trades you take, type of situation. So yeah, there's no need to try to trade everything, try to rotate into every single narrative all the time, when like, people are so spoiled in crypto, this volatility. And I remember, like, BTC used to be this basically in 2022. It was like sideways, nothing happening for the most days, and we had just like a huge move to the one direction and then more nothing. Like, you get look at the daily candles at the end and start of January, December 2022, 2023. Like this used to be fucking proper dead. But when this now moves very, very nicely, like, is there really that many reasons to just, rotate into every single thing when you can just, write something for less percentage gains, but with more conviction and more size
And
all
we've
of
seen
that.
it so many times. I'm not gonna claim I'm like 2011 OG, but people always over rotate and like literally underperform ETH or Bitcoin or Solana
Yeah.
or whatever. It's like blue balls energy, right? You know, can you survive? No, not November. And people are like, but this guy is now shilling RWA. And next day it's NFT platform. And they're like, bro, like, and you feel like you're watching like a retarded little, person like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe I like how these streams is just like us two coping to each other, like why we didn't make $1 billion on wild.
Why I'm not long WorldCoin.
And
It should be a title of the
look, let me
fucking stream.
explain how to crypto Twitter, right? And that God bless is I don't do this shit, so I can call this out. Open $50 worth of, or whatever the minimum size on Binance is these days, or Bybit. Put the highest leverage available because the bigger like number, it's like better, right? In the eyes of CT audience. You make some money. You paid for the close 90% of the position, and you're literally riding it only for the percentage. And be like, oh, told you, wink, wink. And then this person still shows pre-seed dog shit. Go figure. I know I'm repeating myself, but like 2 + 2. I mean, people will now say you're sponsored by Vuex, fucking sellouts. I don't know.
Yeah,
Ethereum.
so
Any
yeah.
tickers? Anybody wants to see some on chain?
Yeah, I think it's really to kind
It's all
of
Bitcoin, and it's a holiday, so we'll see the inflows tomorrow.
yeah, we will see infos tomorrow. ETH is clearly outperforming. I think ETH is still, like you have a 3K here, I think this like the round numbers and all of that, there's going to be a little bit of that fireworks price action if we're gonna hit that, which looks like we're gonna. I think any meaningful resistance on ETH is still here at like 3.2. If you're gonna go to daily chart, this is the same thing that I kind of showed you on ETH BTC. Like you basically trade kind of untested levels, and everything here is kind of tested already. So yeah, I think going to 3.2 on ETH it's not really unrealistic target.
But what do you think, to become a bit more serious, like if BTC, let's say, starts looking like a bit of distribution under, let's say, weekly level of resistance while ETH is running, is that in terms of, I know it's a bit of outdated frame, but the whole Bitcoin to Ethereum to altcoins to on-chain rotation, is that for you, like, I don't want to use the word macro, but is it a bit bearish for you if ETH starts running hard, and then shitcoins? Is it to you maybe?
Yeah, that's definitely something which has been the case in the past. Like the worst dog tier trash is running that kind of closer you are towards the complete end of things. So yeah, it's definitely something that is worth to kind of look into. That like when really BTC is just like not doing and everything else is just going insane. That's usually when kind of the big corrections happen. But at the same time, for me personally, especially since I don't really go to these kind of a macro holding periods or whatever, my holding periods are a couple days, couple weeks max. I just really trade things that I think fit the way that I trade, and rarely kind of pay attention to anything else. Like when I take a trade, like I said, I traded BNB, for example, last week. I wasn't like, oh, but BTC might be slowing down here. It's at resistance or whatever. I just really take it trade by trade. When I find something looking good, and it's like nice example, completely unrelated. Tesla has been this is very meaningless and it's closed today. It had pretty decent kind of end of the last week, while Nasdaq and the equity indices basically sold off at the same time, although the correlation is very high there basically. So it's that kind of a situation where I believe that correlations are super important, but at the same time, when your holding periods really come in just a couple of days, then it's not that big of a deal when the setup is there and it's solid.
Can we very quickly look at Ondo, because somebody asked like 10 times?
Yeah, sure. It's
RWA coin, new one. People are bullish on RWA. I mean, it literally has no history. It's a relatively small market cap.
Look, like with this, you are basically doing the same thing as every single person is doing, because there is nothing else to do. There is like no history, no whatever. You have a resistance. It broke. If you're gonna get a retrace, it should go up. Most likely, everyone is going to bid here as well. So if you're gonna get pullback to, what is this, 28 cents, probably good to look long. These coins, these are one of those kind of a simple things when you see these kind of textbook price actions as well, because there's like there is no history. There is usually very little order flow, because the open interest kind of this gets listed. This is what we talked about last time, where there is a new coin basically, and it's like the open interest is all fucked up, because like people just opening new positions in it, so you cannot really get much from that. So you just kind of wait for any kind of retest, see if there are maybe some liquidations and so on and so forth. But yeah, if you feel like this is a future of finance and whatever, it's still fairly close to that SR level, so you can maybe just like long here with wider stop and hope for the best type of thing. It's looking good. It's new coin, so
new coin, small market cap, like it's under 500 mil, but it like I think it goes back very well to, as you said, holding time of a trade and like investing, right? People saying, what would you put as a spot back? Would you hold Ondo as a spot back? Me, absolutely fucking not. Would I take futures trade or like intra-day, intra-week position? Yes, I would. Not here though.
Probably not here, but
so this probably goes to $35 in like next 2 months, and somebody will be like, "Hit you two faggots."
Yeah. Okay. So with that being said, we have been live for an hour. I think despite a little bit of a ranting on the CD and state of things, which if things continue to go up, it will get just progressively worse and worse.
Especially if BTC doesn't go up. So.
I feel like that we shared some of like at least what I feel like are valuable things when it comes to number of trades you take and convictions and all of that. I really am happy to die on the hill that it's just better to concentrate your risk into smaller number of trades rather than being average in every single thing and just like hope everything will go at the same time.
And then blame the influencers for things going wrong.
Yeah, of course. And yeah, with that being said, thank you guys for tuning in. Like I said, Vu is running this nice promotion. You can get $50 on a smaller account if you meet the criteria. You can, and it will help us, use the first link in the description. And yeah, we will see you, I think, next week before Runner goes to the
Land of the
conventions. Yeah.
I'm gonna find Vitalik myself.
Nice. Okay, cool. So yeah, thank you guys for tuning in, and we will see you next